hi everyone. I'm Sara. I'm from Boomzap, and my talk today is Misadventures in Rapid Prototyping, which is basically a talk on the Boomzap process. Because we have a process that works really well for us, and I'm hoping to share it with you guys, and maybe at the end of the talk, I'm hoping that somebody here, or everybody, best case scenario, walks away with something new that they can apply to their own workflow. So I hope there's a little something in here for everyone. And I guess I should start off by introducing myself. Wow, that thing is magic. So, hi, my name is Sara, and I usually look this grumpy. And I am basically a junior designer at Boomzap. Junior designers are pretty much normal designers, but when we're younger, yes, that's true. That's true. We're younger, we're cuter, and I've only started working last year, so still very fresh. And normally, junior designers do the usual things. We script, which is like a high-level programming, very high level, which means it's very easy. We prototype the game. We test the shit out of the game. We basically talk to everybody. We talk to the publishers. We talk to the artists. So we're kind of like a bit of everything. And Boomzap, if you do not know us, we are basically the company that everybody says, oh, it's that company without an office. So we're based in Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Russia and Georgia, Singapore and Japan. So all over, and Borneo, yes, that's right. So we're all just basically on MSN, and we don't even meet each other. I have never met the Russians, and I'm really curious what they're like, but for all I know, they could just be a figment of my imagination that makes the game. So some of our games, why is that thing rolling? There. You may have seen us. Our games are on Big Fish, our publishers. They're over there. And our games include Awakening, the Dana Nightstone series, that one, and our most recent game is Otherworld. And these are point and clicks, if you don't recognize the term. Modern usage, commonly they're known as hidden object adventure games. So they're puzzles. And apart from that, we've made a bunch of other games. We have match 3 games, we have some Sims, and we have one game on the Wii, which is Pirates Splendor. We normally port from Windows to the Mac, the iPad, the iPhone. So we're pretty much covered, sort of. And I guess I should talk a bit about our games and how they've been received. Firstly, we have our most recent game. That's the game I was working on. Our game is Otherworld, Spring of Shadows. It's about a little girl who gets kidnapped, and it's your job to find her. And we got pretty good ratings. We got a 5-star rating on GameZebo, which is so cool. And I think the users were also pretty happy with us. We peaked at number 2 on the chart, which is not bad. Our other hidden object games are Dana Nightstone. This is basically a mystery thing, so you're a writer who can see ghosts. And we have 2 out of those so far. So if you haven't tried them, try them already. We have 2, and both of them are doing pretty okay. So Death at Fairing Point hit number 1, so yay. Lastly, we have the Awakening series. This is probably like the series we're known for, I think, because it's our oldest franchise. And we've had 3 games out so far, and they're normally peaking somewhere in the top 3. So overall, I think we're not going to die tomorrow, but there's always that possibility. So I guess at this point, I should talk a bit about the project that I was trained on, because that's where I learned about our process. And the project I was working on is called Otherworld. And at the first day of work at Boomzap, you don't start with a manual. You kind of start with Chris telling you, this is your mentor, this is the build, this is the tools, bye. And he basically disappears for 5 months and doesn't bug me again. And most of the time, we don't get this set of rules. We don't have this naming convention. We don't like script this way, prototype that way. This is our recipe for fun. We don't get that. What we do get is a lot of freedom to go out on different adventures. So I would look at Luna's stuff. Luna is my mentor. She's over there. And I would try to copy her stuff. And I'd be like, I'm going to script. And I'm going to break the game. And I'm going to come running back crying to Luna. Because, oh my God, Luna, I broke the game. What the hell do I do? And that's how we learn. We don't get a list of rules. We build them on our own based on the experiences we get. Because then you know the rule in your head, not in your head, but in your gut. You have an experience to tie that in. So we kind of get to a point where, okay, I did this before, it didn't work. Now I can do this. So that's basically how we learn. We go on these misadventures, and that's exactly why the title of my talk is Misadventures in Rapid Prototyping. Because it was 6 months of me breaking the build, learning, oh fuck, that doesn't work. Try again. And it would be pretty tough. But the cool thing about rapid prototyping at Boomzap is you can prototype rapidly enough that you can catch where you stumbled and you can fix it before the artists make art and you feel bad. Because imagine, you make a bad design. I'm pretty sure everybody here has had that feeling where, oh my God, my game sucks, but the artists did the art. Oh no, I feel so bad. And then you just keep it there. But with us, we try to avoid doing that because we try to catch it at gray box stage. Gray box is when it's just stick figures that I drew. And we try to move stuff around. We try to make the game good before it gets to the artists. So you may be wondering, how the hell do we do that? How do we manage to train people? Otherworld just released this January, and I was at work. I started last year, April. So all of me bumbling around didn't destroy the game. We still managed to ship it. So how do we do that? How do we do those? So things we do. We do many things. For one thing, we have daily builds. We basically make a copy of the game every day. Our programmer handles that. We have self-managed teams. As I said, Chris does not fuck with us. He just, stays in a corner. Yeah, we have some documentation. We have very little documentation, in fact. And we do a lot of prototyping. This is really the core of it. So we reduce the other stuff, but we focus on the prototyping. And we know when to say, the meaning of that meme is fuck that. And that is very important. All of this leads to rapid development. And you may be wondering how. A self-managed organization. This means that there's a team. That team is going to be on that game for most of production. And that team, we're going to have our own roles, we're going to do our own thing. So we have a designer that's always pissed. We have a lead artist, an animator, sound, programmer, artists, and producers. And that's not rigid. Depending on the kind of project we're working on, it grows or it shrinks. And the thing is, since the team is together for so long, we have our own way of doing stuff. And we look to the left and to the right to the other teams, and we're all not working the same way. We're working the way that works for us. And yeah. How do we manage ourselves within that team? We try not to manage each other. So what we do is, on Monday, I'm going to have dude, we got to have this done by Friday. Friday is deadline day. And between Monday to Friday, whatever's in the game, whatever they're doing, I'm not really going to mess with it. I'm going to leave them alone. Last week, an artist told me, I want to go out and buy Diablo. That's my errand for the week. And I said, okay, I don't need you from 2 to 4. Go ahead, buy Diablo. And he was gone from 2 to 4. And I was okay with it. Because on Friday, he gave me a lot of stuff, so that's good. Monday, tasking, Friday, deadline. I don't worry about the rest of it. We do have core hours. So you're kind of supposed to be online from 10 to 4. But if you're secretly playing Diablo 3 or not so secretly playing Diablo 3, that's fine. And we have small, manageable chunks of progress. The thing is, if you plan too far ahead, like 1 month from now, that 1 month is going to get wrecked because somebody can all of a sudden swoop in. Let's say the publisher checks our game, publisher Big Fish checks our game, and they're like, I think this kind of doesn't work. And you realize that they're right, even if you really wish they weren't. Your plan for the month is going to be wrecked by all those notes he's given, so you have to change the design of the game. And if I have a meeting with them every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's just too much. It's not my job to tell them what they're doing. They should do it themselves. And so if you want to play your MMORPG, you can do that. Because on Thursday, if you're done with your tasks and it's in the build by Thursday evening, you're gone on Friday. You don't have to sign in, which is a great incentive. And I think that's why our prototyping becomes rapid. It's rapid because there's this carrot in front of you. And you're like, yes, if I finish on Thursday, I'm done. So it's a big feedback for you not to repeat the mistakes you've made in the past, which is why you have to stop having those misadventures after a certain period. We have to stop making those misadventures after a certain period, or else we'll be working over the weekend, which is not cool. So next we have daily builds. That's an icon of our game. So that's last night's build. For example, people are going to put stuff in that build. So me, the artists, everybody. At 6 o'clock, we send that to the programmer after we test the patch, because we patch every day. Programmer's going to make a new build of the day. It's going to be up at 7 o'clock. Everybody downloads it in the morning. Everybody bashes it in the morning. And that's how we make our game. Everybody's welcome to feedback. Even if you're like a sound dude, let's say that you're the mom of the developer, you play the game, you can tell us what you think. And your opinion counts. Daily builds are daily without exception, whether or not there's a programmer. If there's no programmer, I just take yesterday's exe, stick it into the build. So old code, but new assets. It's fine. It's great for discipline, because you can tell right away, where is the game at? You know, we don't have to like worry about reading a bunch of stuff to find out, oh, I think the game is at this % complete. We know how complete it is, because we have a game that we can play. And artists can test their own concepts. The coolest thing about this is that I don't have to see what the artists are doing. Well, I do sort of, but they don't have to go through me to put stuff into the build. They don't have to go through the programmer to put stuff into the build. They're responsible for putting stuff in their build, not me. And they can check right away, I think my art looks awesome, or I think my art kind of sucks. And they can fix it themselves without me ever having to see it. For documentation, because you still need documentation, we have a bare GDD. By bare GDD, I mean we have this thing in GDocs we update every now and then. And yes, that's true, because we don't update it. We update it like every other month. And we basically just have this, you go through a beautiful forest that is huge and big, and you turn to the left and you see a willow tree, blah, blah, blah. No, we don't have any of that. We just have, like, turn left, see tree. And then that's it. That's one row there. And then pick up stone in tree, nothing else. So for prototyping, we do it in Excel. Oh my God, it's blurry. But that's Excel with a whole lot of tabs. And when we press an export button, it comes out as a Lua file. So it spits out Lua files. You have an export button somewhere. And that's the data for the game. So the artists, the script is already inside the game. The artists just have to replace the assets. And I make the assets. I make stick figures, and it works in the game. We put it in. That's the gray box. And the artists will take that stick figure and turn it into a real character or a biped. So from Photoshop and Excel, this is what the game will look like for a few months. It's going to look like, this is all interactive, mind you. You can touch that dig site, you can click on it, and something will come out. You know, it'll work, but it'll have shitty art. And we'll take that art, and we'll make something pretty out of it. It's not very pretty with the light, but it's quite cool. And you'll notice that we added some stuff that wasn't there before, because we try to move stuff around before prototyping. If we have a level that sucks, let's say like you're making an action or platformer game, and it's kind of, we've tried to fix it before the artists get it. And I think that's also why our method is rapid, because the time you spend going back and saying sorry to the artists, if you can reduce that amount of time, that's a big help. So lastly, we have the power of saying fuck that. And I think this is the best thing about our method. Because you have to understand, when people give you feedback, they're going to tell you, do this, 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 this. You have to draw the line somewhere. You have to have the power to say, no, dude, we have a deadline. You know, if we add 10 other features, that's just going to be weird. So it basically means no. And anyone can refuse a task if he or she has a valid reason not to. So even the artists can tell me no. And they do that a lot, but I wish they didn't. And we also say this, obviously our publisher also gets to put in some creative input. And sometimes I'm like, no, dude, no. Like, and we tell that to big fish over there. So, no. And, okay, and basically it requires trust that both parties are committed to the game. Because you can't just assume that, well, I'm saying no to this because I want to play Diablo 3 and it frees up my time. You can't have that. Instead, we trust each other that we're trying to make a good game. And the fact that you're empowering them to say no means that they're going to feel more invested. we're going to feel more invested about making our game. So do we have any problems? Yeah, we do. For one thing, I love breaking the build. And that happens, and we try to catch it really fast. That's the nice thing about daily builds. You can check right away, this build is busted, I have to fix it. The other problem we have is boring gameplay. And that's exactly why we don't try to find a recipe for fun. If somebody has a recipe for fun interaction, give it to me, because I don't have one. What I do have is a plan to deal with the times when I think my gameplay kind of sucks. And that's what this entire process is about. So that's basically how we deal with the two most common issues. Breaking the build gets a lot harder in time. You get better, sort of. Maybe. Hopefully, maybe. Lastly, a closing note. So I've been explaining the technical stuff, but you may be wondering, like, what is our mental scheme? And the mental scheme is that we always imagine there's something at our back about to eat us. You know, we always work on the assumption that we're going to die sometime and we have to extend our life somehow. We always imagine that there's a mountain and we got to climb it. And we're not number one, you know, because when you're number one, you're on the top. You're like, oh yeah, I'm so cool. But the thing is, number one is going to become number two one day, because you're at the top. Where else are you going to go? You're going to go down. So we try to keep it in our heads that we're not number one. There's more stuff we can do. And I think that's really what drives us. Thanks for listening. Any questions? Hey. Yay, no questions? Great. No questions, right? Hi.
So you talk about an Excel file, and then you have artists putting in art in the build themselves.
Yeah, that's PSDs.
So I've always been wondering how that works. So you have to deal with things like layouting, like where does this asset go?
Oh,
how big is it?
We just do it on PSDs. So I just passed them the PSDs with the bad art I made, and they replaced that. And the script is entirely separate from the art. So the script and the art are not together at all.
So do you like parse? Do you like parse PSDs?
I think we just have an exporter.
Okay.
It's a JavaScript file.
Yeah, it's like a script, and then we just export. We just basically turn them from layers into PNGs and JPEGs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Thanks.
Yeah, actually, that's the other thing. The truth is, I'm not really that much of a tech person, so I'm like, oh, it just works. I don't even know anything more than that. Great. If you have any questions, there, that's our tech dude. Oh yeah, that's our technical director. And founder, right, founder. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? No more? No. Yes? No!
So how was your first talk?
No, I think that's a rhetorical question. Next question. That's Big Fish. Yay. Thanks.
You only swore 5 times.
What? Okay. See, I can do it. Okay, seriously, any other questions? I'm off the hook. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Yay.